Yes, we can hear you. Morning.
Yeah. Thanks for joining in time. Guess I'm the late one today. So I'm going to be taking you through the introduction to the Business Central development. And I know when we hear about developments, what comes in our mind is code. That's why I put in for you here some procedure of how the code we expect to look like. But however, before you can go ahead to make any developments around Business Central, you have to know what Business Central is there to do. The functionality that you'll be customizing on top as the application is already existing. So as a Business Central developer, these are the roles you're supposed to do. Oh, okay, from the documentation and the research I've made, these are some of the things that you're expected of as a Business Central developer. One of which is to make developments, and this is coming up with new functionality. Then customizing or adding on what is already existing on the system. Then we are also expected to be able to make system integrations with other existing systems. For example, an integration of Business Central with IFRIS, with bank integration maximum. Yeah. Then also, as a Business Central developer, you're expected to be able to upgrade Business Central versions from one version to another. For example, to upgrade from Navision 2013 to a higher version like Business Central 140, then BC 40 to 50 to 17, and then also to make migrations of Business Central database or the point where it has been hosted, for example, from the on-premises to the cloud, like what I've been working on in the previous 3 weeks, whereas migrating, like I did both, upgrading Uganda National Council of Science and Technology from BISO 140 to 270, then migrated it to cloud. Then technical support and debugging. Under technical support, here you're expected to be able to guide clients on the different functionality, but more so especially the errors they may face on the system, because you are a developer, you have a higher understanding of how the system should be working in the background. Then also to debug the errors, here you'll be tracing for where the errors that end users get when they are doing their daily works around Business Central. Then also, as developers of Business Central, you're expected to make documentations of whatever functionality or customization that we develop on top of Business Central. And also to take the best practices of the functionality, like to give a client the various steps how they are supposed to do a particular task, other than going around making, can I call them vijingi, to do something, then later you notice that maybe some entries are missing. Through configuration packages other than, so you should be able to guide clients on the best practices. Then also, as business developers, we are expected to be able to do enough tests on our solution so that they don't break and our clients have a good they have a good time using the system, and to make sure that all the functionality that we develop are of quality. And that's why you have a quality guy in next MMO. Maybe he will be able to, he can guide here more around testing and quality control. Then Business Central is made up of components. There are 3 components. There's a web service where we access now the functionality, the UI. So the web server, from there we can access the UI. Then there is a server which communicates to the database. Then the database is where the data is stored. So from the web servers, you can be able to access the UI of Business Central through a laptop or a phone application. Then still directly to the server, we have web services which are more so APIs, and it supports the SOAP or data standards, which are widely used in the industry for integration between systems. Then still on the server is where our AL developments, whenever I publish our extensions, we are illicit. And administrative tools, especially in cloud, where we have an administrative panel. And the capabilities of Business Central. Here, capability-wise, here we just have to know what Business Central is capable of doing, like out of the box, before any developments have been done. And the listed modules are what Business Central provides as the cores before you've made any customizations on the system. The first one, we have the relationship management. Yeah, this is more so concerned with user satisfactory of the product that the products we deal in. It entails things like opportunities, contacts, and things like warranty. Then, warranty is under service management. Warranty is under relationship management. Then under the sales management, we have things like sales orders, quotes, whatever is related to selling items of an organization or an entity or a company. Then we also have the supply chain management, which entails partly on sales, whereby under the supply of items, you can sell, during supply of items made from suppliers, you can set sale of an item directly as it is on its way to the, maybe to the warehouse. And here, we normally look at the sales order where we can create a sales drop shipment. Then we also have under there things like purchase orders, purchase blanket purchase orders, and quotes. Then we have service management. Under service management, we have things like contracts, opportunities, then contacts. And then under manufacturing, here it entails production of items. So Business Central is capable of automating the production such that you can be able to put it in on the system. And so in order to do any customizations around manufacturing, you should be able to understand how manufacturing works, or just around all the modules. Whenever you're going to do any customization on any module, you have to understand like how a given module works before you can be able to make a customization on it. I know you've been having issues like blind coding, whereby you're given a task, you don't know about something, you have to first consult, go read. That may slow a bit development. You have to make sure that you first of all know the functionality, the standard functionality which is there, or to be knowing like how manufacturing works or how human resource management works before you can be able to do robust developments around it. Then you also have human resource management on Business Central as a standard, and this comes with a limited functionality if it is a standard one, because you'll have anything like creating an employee, then managing of absence of the employee, then a minimal payroll functionality, which is shipped in by the standard Business Central. And so majorly that is where most of the customizations can be done on what is existing. Then you can build on your own extensions, either from scratch or extend this functionality. Business Central offers integration points with other applications, and here we normally use the APIs to the SOAP and OData. We have here 3 ways you can integrate. The first one is where we just integrate it seemingly like using Microsoft ecosystem itself. Since Business Central is a Microsoft product, they made it in a way that it can freely interact with other Microsoft ecosystem apps. For example, the Outlooks, we have the Microsoft Outlooks add-in in Business Central, as well as Power BI for reporting purposes, the Power Apps for creating visually appealing interfaces, then Power Automate, then also have integration with first-party systems of Yodo, QuickBooks, OCR, AMC, name them. Then, lastly, here we have the integration point can be through the APIs as well. Like for the eHubs, we normally create for the various clients who utilize the APIs. The extension approach of Business Central. Customizations on Business Central are built in AL, and the extension adds or change behavior without touching the core functionality of the system. You create their hook points in the custom, so there are hook points in the standard functionality of Business Central, and it also offers ways of integrating. It offers ways of linking up with the existing objects on the system to add on functionality to suit our user needs. And the extensions in Business Central can be done in 2 ways. They can be done as per-tenant extensions, the way we normally develop for our clients here, whereby each client has his or her own development. For example, if you can't just carry an extension from the Mlana group, then you take it to a company like Beyond Logistics. It won't work for them because it doesn't meet what the other entity does. So that is what we mean by a partner. And normally, so whenever we are publishing our extensions to cloud, special customizations for each client, after publishing, we see an extension of, on the apps, you see there PTE, on the extension that has been published, meaning it is a pertinent extension. Then absence apps, these are customizations which are made in that they are independent solutions which can be gotten by any client provided they are meeting their needs. It is a plug and play. You have to make them in a way that they are standard. The same way that Business Central standard applications are standard in that you can just extend on them. These are normally created after you've analyzed your market, you know what they deal in. For example, our apparel here. HRP has studied payroll over years in that they know most of the clients in Uganda, they have most of their functionality. So they're able to come up with an extension, and that was Lambda. I saw him making some extension that is Absos ready. In that solution is robust, that it will just need a few customizations on top to suit any client, the same way we do for the standards, to extend things like purchase orders which are already existing, just to add in some functionality to suit a client. But the core will always provide the most requirements. And then how the extensions interact with the core. The extensions you create interact with the core functionality through event subscribers, through page extensions, through table extensions, permission sets to extend security, then API, through the APIs. And under the APIs, we have two kinds of APIs that Business Central offers. The first is a SOAP, then the other is web services. And most of the systems can seamlessly integrate with Business Central using these APIs as their industry standards, their ISO standards. Extension, custom solutions. For custom solutions that you create, for example, the advanced HR that we have, payroll, how we normally deal with pages, tables, code unit reports, enums, permissions, interfaces, and XMS, and we depend less on extension, on things like page extensions and report extensions, table extensions, because here we are the one who's creating the functionality. So to make a custom solution, normally I put in here what we normally use. Okay, you can have even things like page extension and table extension, but since I talked about them in the previous slide, I skipped them out because this will be the core as you're creating your own functionality, kind of like from scratch. You have the tables, the pages, the code units which will be bundling up the functionality, the reports for overviews, which can be printed out. Then the components of the platform. Okay, here I mean the components of Business Central for it to be functional. So we have the base application, which base application is provided by Microsoft itself. And in there we have two extensions, which is the Teams application, then the base application. Then their platform application. These are applications which are created by partners like HRP. And then still under maybe base applications, there are other functionality that Microsoft has developed to aid on the developments. For example, those email applications, it is a standalone app that you install in order to work with emails seamlessly without you having to rehearse again reinventing wheels. And there are a number of them, as like Shopify, that was developed by an external person out of Microsoft that helps to automatically integrate with the Shopify systems. The core solution approach. Business Central core solution is provided by Microsoft and delivered as the best application and system application, as I talked about it earlier. Then the core of Business Central contains functionalities of finance, sales, purchasing, inventory, manufacturing, job, services, and fixed assets. Name them, there are those small things in there. For example, the contacts, they are part of sales and purchasing. Well, there are very many in there that may not have been mentioned, but they are part of whatever is listed here. Like under finance, you mean there are a number of other small modules in there. And then the core code, currently with the AL developments, you can't directly modify them the way it used to be with CAL, whereby somebody could go into the standard functionality of the system and modify it. Currently, you can't do that. They had to isolate the cores of Business Central so that somebody doesn't just tamper with it directly. You have to make customization on top of it to avoid breaking changes. Yeah. Then how do we update?
Hey, Kaka.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's first hold it at this point, yeah?
Okay.
Just allow me to share my screen. So Ekaka has gone through these first two components of describing the components and capabilities of Business Central, and then the core solution and extension approach for Business Central. Before he proceeds, I think that's enough for today. He will pick up the remaining two parts on Friday, but also I just wanted us to use these few remaining minutes to assess also the exam approach to see what kind of questions can be asked on those two areas. So I'm going to reference the Microsoft Learning platform. Kaka has talked about the extensions. We have here 3 questions. Maybe Kaka, you can take us through them and we see whether regarding the extensions approach that you've talked about can be in position to answer some of these questions. So Kaka, over to you.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so here we have our sample questions. And they go, what is app source? So here they give us 4 options. The first one, they say app source is a link to the source developer of an app. By reading the app source tag, you can identify the object by means of a developer version. That can't be the app source. It is not just a link to the source developer. Then the second one, app source is the Microsoft Marketplace for business applications like Business Central. You can find many ready-to-use apps for Business Central in App Source. Some extensions are provided by Microsoft. Yeah, the App Source is where we can find already made solutions which can seemingly integrate with Business Central by downloading them and just publishing them into Business Central and be able to utilize them. And for me, I would go with this one here. Let me check this other two. App source is a suite app, apps, services, connector, and data platform. No. App source is a platform. Can't be, it isn't a suite. Then app source is a cloud-based software platform that allows employees to create. No. Hey, Mike, scroll a bit down. Question 2. Here, first read all of them. What is an extension? If we go to the last one, extension referred to the integration of XML-based platforms with Business Central. Sure, we've all been doing some development. Extensions are not only about XMLs. Maybe you can first put that on pen and read through the others, but it's not all about XMLs. Only about XML. Then the other one, second last, is extensions are small software programs that customize the browsing experience of Business Central. Web client in terms of preference and individual needs. Here I see some like the small software programs that customize. Okay, let me first hold on that and check also on the other two. Extensions refer to third-party software solutions that you can use to add and plug in to the standard Business Central. Surely, there are third-party software that you can easily plug in to add on the functionality. Then the first one, extensions are an object-based programming model that helps you define extra functionality to modify behavior of Business Central application. You can create extensions to modify existing objects such as tables. An object-based programming model. Not necessarily, because if you say object-based programming, you may be referring to other object-oriented programming languages. So for me, I would go with the second one. It's a third-party software solution that you can use to add and plug in to the standards.
Okay, Kaka. For me, I would go with the first one. I don't know how many people will go with the second one.
It is A.
Sorry?
I go with A too.
You go with 2, yeah?
A.
Okay. Kaka, today we've refused your answer. Any other person? We have A and B. Because object-based is different from object-oriented. Those are two different things. Eh? Object-based, we are using objects, whereas object-oriented, we know the OOP principles like polymorphism, encapsulation, among inheritance, among others. But this is not object-oriented, it's just object-based. And you can define extra functionality to modify the behavior of the business application. Whereas this one, third party, to me, third party is like something which is of external, the way you can see smart or SMS. And I believe extensions are not only for third party things. So do you have any other vote before we go to the next? Okay, I will choose what our teachers selected, but for me, of course, we shall check and see. Eh? For me, I would go with 2. Yeah. Lastly,
they are taking here as a user. You want to add some fields to the customer list and then remove some fields from the customer list. So here we see that we are talking about pages, not tables, because at least all of us have been working with Business Central here. You know that customer list is a page, not a table. So in our answers, you should expect something. Pages, not tables. Is this possible? Okay. Is this possible? And if so, how can you accomplish this task? You can't add and remove fields as a user. No. You can only do this when you have the right permission set and only in the sandbox environment. The changes then need to be transferred from the sandbox to the live environment. No. As a user, you can personalize pages like customer list in the app bar, select the settings icon, and then select personalize. You can then add and remove fields from your customer list. I have light here. Let me first check on the last one. You can't customize pages. No. I'll go with the third one. Then what the other stage.
Okay. It's time to check for our answers. So we can see this one is okay. Personalization. Ekaka here. Yeah, so this was A, is object based, and then app source is Microsoft Marketplace. So this is the first demonstration we've had from Ekaka, and I think it is. I want us to learn from it and let it give us the direction on how our presentation should be made. So as you go through the PowerPoint presentation or whichever methodology that you've organized for the team, ensure that you have some questions that you pose to the team, because all these, when I was coming up with this plan, we have the Microsoft learning path that has some questions. So when you tell us about the different components, I want you also, after describing this component, show us some of the questions that can be examined around those components. If you tell us something about extensions, after that, take us to the questions, ask us to confirm that we shall be in position to answer those questions. So that will be the approach that we shall be using moving forward. So Ekaka, for Friday, as you go through these other two, ensure that you also have some questions. But thanks for that. At least we've managed to answer some questions. There are also some other questions relating to the first one, but for now, I won't go through them. I'll leave them for Ekaka in the next presentation. These are some of the questions that relate to the first topic you asked. I don't know whether we can quickly go through them and see whether we understand them, but no, let's park this for the next presentation. So that's it. Thank you everyone for attending. We shall meet again on Friday. Please let's keep time so that we can utilize our 45 minutes. Thank you, and I wish you a great day.
Thanks, Mike. Then Friday I'm not around.
Okay, SPK can be on standby. All right, have a good day.